Hi guys, and welcome back to another video where today we're going to be predicting the scores of week 5 of the 2021-2022 Premier League season. Now, as always, before we get into this week's predictions, let's have a quick look back at how well we got on in week 4.
So last week I had a dire week. I only had 5.5 points with no perfect scores.
And I came away with 12 points, which was a lot better than I have been doing recently. 1 perfect score and 7 correct results. But top scorer of the week with a magnificent, a superlative score of 17 points was Louis Smith, and Louis had 3 exact scores and 8 correct scores or correct results overall. So congratulations on last week, Louis. But how does that affect now the overall table? Well, top of the shop is Vercon. I think Vercon was on top of the leaderboard a couple of weeks ago as well. He's currently on 54 and a half points. 2.5 points ahead of Hafiz Emran. Nathan, you're currently in 54th Shocking. Position, just Massive sinking drop. Down the table slightly now. But I'm up. I'm glad to say now up to 36th position. Hopefully I can continue on that upwards trajectory. If you can even say that word. But enough of last week. Let's crack on and make some predictions for week 5.
Okay, so first up we actually have a Friday match, 8 o'clock kickoff between Newcastle and Leeds. Now Newcastle, not the strongest starts to the season, they have had some tricky fixtures like West Ham, Aston Villa and Man United. Again, a good draw against Southampton though either way. And then Leeds, what can we say about them? Floodgates have opened, people are saying second season syndrome for them, can't defend at all. But they are scoring goals, which is quite interesting. Difficult one for this one. I think Leeds might edge it though away personally. Newcastle, I think it's just low quality of squad and just not scoring enough, but I think Leeds should overwhelm them, so 2-1.
Yeah, this game could go either way for me, Nathan.
Yeah.
Leeds could come away with all 3 points, or Newcastle could as well. In the last match, as you've said, they lost heavily against Manchester United, but I think Man United, with Ronaldo coming back into the team, back into Manchester last week, I think they would have beaten anybody last weekend. Newcastle, on the end, unfortunately, of that 4-1 drubbing. I think they're going to bounce back in this one against Leeds. That defence, we were talking a few weeks ago that it may have shorn up a little bit, but I think it's leaky. Too much going forward. Throwing caution to the wind. I fancy Newcastle at home to pick up their first 3 points of the season, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory to the Magpies. Next up, we've got 12 o'clock kick-off on Saturday, live on BT Sport. Wolves against Brentford. Now, Wolves recorded their first victory of the season last week. Prior to that, it was 3 defeats, winning well away against Watford 2-0. Brentford, after a very good start, they lost their first match of the season at home against Brighton, which I actually predicted, which I'm glad to say. This one is going to be a tight affair. We know that Wolves defensively at the moment look fairly sound. Not a lot of goals in this one. I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Wolves.
Well, I disagree with you. I think Wolves, they're okay in defence really. There's just not enough going forward. They really can't finish their chances at all. And Brentford, I just know for a fact they're going to bounce back. Played well against Brighton, I'd say just very unlucky not to win that one. So I'm going to go 2-0 Brentford.
Wow, bold.
Next up, we've got the first 3 o'clock between Burnley and Arsenal. Now, Arsenal, how did they only beat Norwich 1-0? Both teams were pretty poor in that game, I guess. But yeah, Arsenal just about grinded that 1-0 victory out when it should.
Out of the relegation zone.
Yeah, out of the relegation zone. They should have surely scored more than that, but Norwich looked doomed at this early stage. Whereas Burnley still only got the 1 point, had an okay 1-1 draw with Leeds, but absolutely fell apart against Everton, where I thought they did actually play well in parts in that game as well. So, I think they're just going to absolutely shock Arsenal for some reason. I'm going to 1-0.
Yeah.
1-0 win at Turf Moor.
Yeah, Arsenal do find it hard against Burnley at Turf Moor. I think last season it ended in a draw 1-1. Arsenal at last getting points on the board last time out against Norwich, who were, as you say, doomed for this season.
They've only scored 1 goal this season in 4 games as well. That's shocking.
It is a bit of a shocker. They're coming up against a Burnley side, probably one of the last teams they'd want to come up at this moment in time, but it is a chance for them to get some more points on the board. I think they will. I don't think they'll come away with all 3, so I'm going to go for same as last season at Turf Moor, 1-1. Next up, we've got Liverpool, the Reds, coming up against Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace, shock possibly of the season so far, beating Tottenham 3-0 last time out. I know that Spurs had they were without Son and who got sent off in that match as well. Tanganga from the back, a couple of yellow cards, wasn't it? So, but they took their chances well, played, and is it Edmond came on? And I think he scored 2 goals in.
Edward from Celtic.
I think he scored 2 goals in 6 minutes or 12 minutes, which was absolutely
awesome.
Fabulous. So he could make a start at the starting lineup.
I think he had a better debut than Ronaldo, personally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Ronaldo took all the headlines, didn't he? But
absolutely.
Liverpool now currently in 3rd position, and they themselves had a very good away victory against Leeds, that leaky calendar of a defence though, but Saleh, Firmino and Mane all getting on the score sheet there. So Palace doing fairly well so far this season, but you've got to back Liverpool at home. Last season they beat Palace 2-0 and 7-0. So I'm going to go for another victory for the Reds. I'm going to go 2-1.
Interesting. I'm going to go 2-1 to Liverpool as well. I think they'll just have a bit too much, but Palace will give them a good fight. They play some really good stuff against Tottenham as well. Personally, I way underestimate Patrick Vieira, and he's having a really good start to his time at Crystal Palace. Great signings as well. The team is really gelling, so 2-1. Next up, we've got Man City versus Southampton. Now, Southampton 3 draws in a row. They've really got to get some points on the board at some point. I mean, they have 3 at the moment, but they've got to get those into wins. Whereas Man City, they're currently in 5th position, getting loads of good wins. I mean, you got 2 5-0s there and a 1-0 against Leicester. That's a good result against Leicester too. I think they will definitely beat Southampton. I'm going to say 3-0.
3-0. I'm going to go one more than you on this one, Nathan. I'm going to go 4-0. They haven't conceded in the last 3 matches after that first match of the season defeat against Spurs. So straightforward victory to Man City in this one. Probably maybe get some defenders in for your fantasy football team on this one. Next up, we've got Norwich coming up against Watford. Both played against each other, of course, last season in the Championship. Watford came out on top 1-0 in both of those matches. But I actually fancy Norwich to get their first points on the board this season. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Since Watford started the season, I think it was with a victory, wasn't it? It was against, who was it again? It was against Aston Villa.
Very good victory.
Since then they haven't scored. I think they'll get a goal against Norwich, but I think it'll end up 1-1 at the end of the day.
The thing is, if you take Wolves out of that equation, Watford have had a very difficult start to the season, and they were elite against Aston Villa. But whereas Norwich, yes, Watford did get the double over them last season. I remember playing very well as well, and Norwich just not having a plan because Watford were absolutely secure there, and Norwich they just benefited from capitalising on everyone's mistakes in the Championship last year. So I think it's going to be a drubbing for them. I'm going to go 2-0 to Watford. Next up, we've got Villa Everton. Now, Villa, quite a disappointing start to the season that many people have said, considering their quality. 2 losses, 1 win and 1 draw. Great win against Newcastle, but losing 3-0 to Chelsea. My Chelsea was superb in that one with likes of Lukaku and stuff. Everton, great victory against Burnley. Burnley just folded up like a deck chair in the second half, even though they looked vulnerable at times, and I think that vulnerability is going to come out for Everton. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. After the performance Everton put up the other night against Burnley.
Burnley just folded to pieces, quite frankly.
Wow, I'm going to disagree on this.
But in the first half, Burnley seemed a much better team, and they seemed quite vulnerable in some areas as well, Everton.
Yeah, well, I'm going to disagree, Nathan. I think Everton are going to take all 3 points in this one. I've been impressed with them, especially Andros Townsend.
Oh, what a
thunderbolt that was.
What a goal. Okay,
Burnley did go ahead. They showed their character to come into this match. I think the goal, Pope made a fantastic save as well. He could have scored. Damari Gray is on fire at the moment. He's really doing well for Everton since he's come into that team. So Villa missing a couple of players because of what happened in South America as well. I think they're back for this weekend, possibly.
So, yeah.
Like Martinez and Buendia, I think it is. So I think Everton will score. Maybe Ings will get on the score sheet, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to the Toffees. Now we move on to the Sunday fixtures next, where we've got Brighton coming up against Leicester. Now Leicester losing 2 of the first 4 matches. Last time out it was against Manchester City at home, where they lost 1-0. I don't think they're going to bounce back in this match, because I think Brighton have started really well as well, where they've won 3 of their first 4 fixtures. Brighton beating Brentford, which was Brentford's first defeat of the season. So I'm going to sit on the fence with this one. I'm going to go for a draw. I think Brighton will hold their own at home. I'm going for 1-1.
I think it's going to be a repeat of last season, where Leicester are just about going to edge it, to be honest. 2-1. I think Brighton will really push them, but it'll be a last minute Jamie Vardy goal, I imagine, to nick it. Anyway, moving on from that, next we've got West Ham Man United, another Sunday one. Man United, Cristiano Ronaldo, what can we say? Great debut for him. Scored again tonight against Young Boys as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as you know, I'm still not convinced by him. You'll know that forever. West Ham, good start to the season, but are starting to drift a little bit now. Draw to Palace, draw to Southampton. Should have done a bit better in that game, but they are turning up in other ones. Missing Antonio for this one, so that's going to be a massive loss. I'm going to go for 3-1 Man United.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one, Nathan. I also am going to go for 3-1 Manchester United. Free throwing football going forward at the moment. A little bit susceptible at the back, not really keeping clean sheets as such, are they? So far this season they have conceded 3 goals. As you say, Antonio's missing for West Ham, but they've made some good signings themselves. I think West Ham will get a goal, but 3-1 to the Red Devils. And finally, the last match of the weekend is at 4:30. We got Spurs coming up against Chelsea. Chelsea look absolutely fantastic at the moment this season. Only conceded 1 goal, which I think was against Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, Liverpool.
It was, but apart from that, last weekend they brushed Aston Villa aside 3-0, and Spurs, Harry Kane's not really firing at the moment. Son, not sure if he's going to be in or out of this match. Possibly he's going to miss this one as well. I'm going to go for a rampant Chelsea 2-0.
Interesting. I think Spurs will nick one early on, but then I think Tuchel will just end up working out Nuno Espirito Santo's single, one-directional tactics, which never seem to have a plan B. We saw it a lot of Wolves, so I'm going to go 2-1 to Chelsea. More Lukaku goals. Yeah, Lukaku, okay. I'm going to try and get him in my fantasy football team if I can. So that concludes our predictions for week 5 of the 2021-2022 Premier League season. As usual, make sure you leave your predictions over at the Super Brew website. Again on the screen, that is the code if you're not already a member of that pool. It's totally free to join, of course. Over 100 people in the league so far. Also, leave your predictions as comment as well, because we both read each and every comment and each and every prediction as well. Really good to see, and it gives us food for thought on what you're thinking as well. But Nathan, before we go, is there anything you'd like to add? What are we doing vlogging-wise, etc.? Make sure to watch back that Forest vlog. That was just another level. Tomorrow night, unfortunately, I don't know when this video is going out. It's going to have to be a watch-along for Coventry, as we can't get to the game, unfortunately. Gutted, because we're taking 1,200 up on a Wednesday night. Best support in the Championship, amazing. And then this weekend, Bournemouth at home. That's going to be difficult. They're winning 2-0 at the moment, aren't they? Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Against who they play? QPR. That's right. Yes, but thanks as always for watching, guys. Remember to leave your predictions on the website and in the comment section. But for now, we'll bid you farewell, and we'll see you all in the next one. Oh.